Welcome back to the KOALAFIED Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Zielinski. Happy holidays, everyone. Hope you all are relaxing with your loved ones and just enjoying some downtime. This episode will not have one specific guest, but instead it's going to have multiple. I'm going to be going back and discussing the episodes that I've done this year and highlighting some key moments. I'd like to thank everyone that has participated in these interviews, and I look forward to hearing the stories of everyone in the future. Let's dive right in. If you have watched most, if not all, the episodes, you may have noticed there have been some common trends like choosing to use contractors instead of employees and living in the same city where the business is located, even though it's not necessary. Another common trend is that owners know not everyone is going to be their customer. They focus on working with their ideal consumer and let the ones that will be a pain simply walk away. Here's a clip from episode 14 when Jenn and Max talk about living in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area and how they provide a living wage to their employees.
We've determined that if our contractors work full-time cleaning for us with a 2-week vacation, they can make as much money as I was making 8 years ago with a master's degree in education teaching. So, which is not, I'm not saying that that's enough for a family of 8 to live on, but most people don't have, large families like that. So we pay a living wage and we make that part of the sell for our clients is we say to them, we're not Molly Maid. We're not paying our cleaners $12 an hour. We double that. We offer our cleaners a $20 bonus if they get a 5-star review. And so we tell clients that also that's a way that you can put extra money in your cleaners' pockets. It doesn't have any cost to you. It's, our cost, but we want you to be happy. I told you earlier that whoever tells the best story wins, right? So a mother-son business startup,
big time,
is a good story, and we Absolutely. Also are like best friends, and so that is, and I think that's obvious, and we. The level of engagement that we have with our clients is texting them and saying, have you had your baby yet? Just wondering if you, need your clean. Writing down every detail about the client that will make us remember them in the CRM as we're talking to them is really important. And I've recently just begun to think about how can we practice unreasonable hospitality in this service industry. I forget the name of the guy who wrote this book called Unreasonable Hospitality. And he had his restaurant in New York City was voted the best restaurant in the world by Michelin star. And, how can we go above and beyond so that the slightly higher rates that we charge are considered well worth it in our clients' estimation. So last week, there was a family moving from Missouri, I think, to Michigan. They hired us to do their move-in clean for their rental apartment while they find a house. They've never set foot in Michigan. I drove out there Friday. It's like an hour-long drive. Drove out there, met the cleaner there, brought a bouquet of flowers that were blooming in our yard. And I wrote a postcard telling them that they need to go to this pizzeria in their new town because it's like legendary, and where to find the best beaches that aren't overcrowded because it's right on Lake Michigan. And just try to do something that a regular cleaning company would never do. And I think we try to deliver flowers from our yard to every move-in clean within season that we can, and if it works in our time schedule. So really setting ourselves apart as a company that will always answer the phone, is available to shoot a quick text, always follows up on the clean, just wondering if you were satisfied. like Max said, we've had some disasters. We had a woman who was hiring us to clean her house before they took pictures of the house and staged it to sell it. And at like 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, I got a phone call, I mean, several Saturdays ago, that our cleaners had spilled oven cleaner on her wood floors, and they were like ruined. Like, I went over to the house and I didn't even know what to say. Like, they just completely etched her floor, and we were just like, we'll make it right. It doesn't matter what cost, we will make it right. And we ended up paying for her floors to be refinished. She just hired us for another job, like to move into her new house Friday, wasn't it last week, Max?
Yeah.
So I think the 5-star reviews do not reflect that we have the very best cleaners all the time delivering the very best service, but we consistently have integrity and deliver the best customer service. And that's the whole package. And that's, I think, why we have the 5-star reviews that we do.
Yeah.
I truly believe that everyone that I spoke with this year is successful in their own ways and will continue to be in the years to come. I'd like to take a moment now to highlight a few that stood out to me. Check out this clip from episode 36 with Todd and Christen.
I have always worked for other people, and I've always built businesses for other people. So, when we moved across the country and went from Alabama to Washington State, or Washington State to Atlanta, or Atlanta to Vegas, it was always for me anyway, to grow and scale a business that either need help to is, losing $400,000 a year and didn't have processes and systems in place, and employees kind of ran roughshod over the ownership, or to go and start fresh like I did in Atlanta and bring knowledge to that. So after doing those things, COVID hit. The entire company got shut down, except for the ownership, who just kind of ran on a skeleton crew and didn't really want to pay any executives to hang out, sold our house at the height of just property values in the area, and moved out to family land. And I walked out the back door and slipped down a ramp and broke my leg. Like,
oh my gosh,
like
airlifted
break. It was fun. I didn't feel anything, but it was the opposite of fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I'd always built businesses for other people. So I could not walk or put any weight on that leg for 5 months.
Yeah.
So
it was no weight bearing for 5 months.
Yeah. So I had a lot of elderly DME equipment that I wouldn't, have in the 40s, generally speaking, around. So I had these little scooters and walkers and stuff. It was super interesting. Anyway, so I was sitting down and, watching YouTube or something. I think it was YouTube. And I ran across an influencer by the name of Cody Sanchez. And Cody, it's a woman, Codie, has this philosophy about buying boring businesses. And I thought, well, that seems pretty simple. I could do that. So I started researching how to make that happen and what kind of business we'd like to either open or purchase. From the content that she had created and the ideas that I got from that. Because all I had was time on my hands and a remote in my hand. But I couldn't walk, but I could use my brain. And so we began doing business consulting, and then started the Valley Clean team just a couple of months later.
Yeah, and to tag on to that part, we had been married about 11 years at that point. And in 2021, at the end of 2021, we had a baby.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was working, like I said, my whole background is in corporate marketing. I was working for a large local credit union at the time, in doing marketing and project management for them. Loved my job, loved what I was doing. And we were very successful in what we were doing there at the time. And he had his accident. We had a 10-month-old. And so So that was in August of that year, and of 2022 rather. And then in October of 2022, I was unceremoniously laid off.
You were retired.
Well, yes, I was told that I retired. Me and actually one of our executive leaders in that department. It was a shock to everybody. I mean, it was the entire credit union. Like I had people emailing me just like, what happened, and it was just a restructuring. There was nothing nefarious or anything like that. But no one knew it was coming, unfortunately. And so I literally came home that day with a severance package and time on my hands.
Yeah.
And
so hey, I got this great idea.
Yeah, and he had been telling me,
what do you think about this?
Kind of like, hey, I've been thinking about this and that, and I just couldn't even, between the new baby, working, his accident, and with him not being, being immobile, basically, there was just a lot on me as mom and wife, and current provider for the home. And I was just like, I can't put anything else on my plate. I can't, I can't give you any of the knowledge in my head from a marketing perspective. I just can't do it.
No, we were at the doctor's office, like, brainstorming on, names of the company.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
yeah.
That's literally like,
that was literally the only time that I had to focus on this idea that he had.
Yeah.
And we'd always talked about having our own company,
Mm-hmm.
running our own business. We just could never get out of the comfort, of that.
Well, we always thought you had to, like, I'm going to go to the bank and borrow, yada,
Yeah.
yada, that kind of stuff. And it's not true. You don't have to do it that way.
Sure.
So I literally came home on that October day, and I said, well, I guess I'm yours full time now. And so that's
great.
Literally,
we need a logo. Let's go.
Yeah, literally a couple weeks later, I think we officially launched. Yep. And we had our first customer in January, December of 2022. So that's what we've been doing.
Yep.
So I play.
So I take all the operational knowledge and things that I did over the years as an executive leadership, and just books you read and processes and things you put together, and just and then basically I was like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I know how to set up OKRs and SMART goals and stuff. So let's do that for our business and the people who work here. So
you're the first person I've ever heard that you were handed a surprise retirement.
Yes,
in those terms.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of things that you guys have went through in a very short amount of time, and it just goes to show your resiliency. All that you've gone through and where you're at now is just a testament to how strong you guys are and what you can accomplish with a little bit of brain power, will, and somebody strong by your side.
Yeah, and there's a lot of prayer in there too, for sure, because we were
absolutely
falling apart, just whether we talked about it or not, or whether we even realized it or not, frankly. So it's
sure,
it is very interesting, and it is a blessing.
Their success comes from overcoming a bunch of obstacles that occurred within a short period of time. And here's another clip from Poiette from episode 27.
As a leader, as a business owner, like, the nice stuff cannot exist. Like, people will take advantage of you. People will walk all over you if you are too nice. And I started off my business, just being too nice, allowing too many things to happen. And you cannot survive that way. Like, you have to be firm. You have to be direct. You have to, put those policies in place, no matter who you're dealing with, whether it's a relative or a close friend. Just being nice as a business owner cannot fly. Now, you can be professional, you can be kind, but being nice is really not going to get you anywhere. Like, you're
going to get walked over.
Yes, your business will flop eventually. And I had to learn that a lot of my problems in the first year, I felt like, came because I was just too nice. So the niceness has to go. It cannot exist. Um, the second thing I would say is, invest in yourself just as much as you invest in your business,
Huge.
and not just even financially, but like the self-care and like making sure you get enough rest, because it's like when I don't get rest, I'm grumpy and angry and I may not handle things well when I feel that way. So this business is not going to go anywhere. Like treating myself to the best rest I can get, exercising, making sure I'm healthy. Like, if I have heart issues and I'm in and out of the hospital, I can't run a successful business. You know what I mean? So it's like you
Eating
have to,
healthy, eating the right food,
yeah, eating
not
healthy,
4
exercising,
or 5
like
Red Bulls a day and
you
as
cannot
much caffeine that you
sustain
could
that.
jam
Like,
down your throat. Just no.
yes, yes. And it's like, with like hustle culture and having to work, 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 and put in all these hours, like, yes, you absolutely have to work hard and put in a lot of hours, but you have to manage your time and manage, like, the stress that you're putting on your body. So I always tell people, just make sure you have some system in place to allow for downtime. Sundays were closed, so like that's my only day off, and I try to remind people of that. Like Sundays, I want to do what I want to do. Because I can't do what I want to do, Monday through Saturday for the most part. So, making sure that I am intentional about my personal time, how I spend my personal time, and just, treating myself well. The same effort that I want to give my business, I'm also giving that to myself.
Lastly, guys, here's a clip from episode 23 with Hussein.
So I was born in Kenya in a refugee camp in Africa. It still exists today. It's called the Dadaab camp, and I moved to the U.S. in 1999, 2000. First to Atlanta, in Decatur, Georgia, and then we moved to Maine. Growing up as a kid is some of my favorite things to do. Playing basketball, hanging out with friends, just playing sports. That's all I did, was just keep busy with sports. Didn't really think about business. It wasn't really on my mind then. I just wanted to be a professional basketball player because I played basketball from like 5th grade and on, and it's like I'm gonna go to the NBA, and that's all I wanted to do. And then high school came, and then senior year came. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and all my friends were going to college, so I was just like, I don't want to stay home, so I'm just going to go to college and just figure it out.
And you didn't have a major picked out. It was just
Nothing. It was just undecided. Yeah, so eventually, like sophomore, junior year of college, I was like, what, let me just do business, because it didn't involve a lot of math, and I don't like math, so I just went towards the business route. Graduated with marketing in 2021. We didn't get to walk, but hey, I still got my degree, and I actually got into business because there was an internship with a national painting firm, a national painting company. They just go into your classroom and they tell you about this internship where, you're going to learn how to run a business, sales, marketing, everything. And I was like, whoa, this is a great opportunity. And the guy didn't actually come into my classroom. He went to my friend's classroom, and my friend told me about this. And right after that, right when I learned about it is when I called the guy and I just told him, I'm ready to do this, and went through rounds of interviews, like 3-4 rounds, and eventually they just gave me the internship. I ran a local painting business that I franchised with them in my area, and that was like through the height of COVID, and dropped flyers, like 1,000 flyers, knocked on doors, the whole 9 yards, posted on Facebook because there was a lockdown and we couldn't knock on doors anymore. And after it was all said and done, I did about like $50,000 in revenue with them. And I knew I wanted to run my own business after that. I just didn't know what it was, and kind of fell down the rabbit hole of they call it money Twitter. Everyone's like running some type of business, and I saw a guy that was just like, I'm running a cleaning business. I've been doing it for like 10 years, doing it remotely, and I don't clean any houses. I haven't seen any houses. I was like, well, okay, that's cool. And bought his course for $100 in November of November 2021. Did it for 30 days. He goes through everything about, getting your LLC, picking your name, picking a logo, all of that, the whole 9 yards. And so I did that, built my website, launched my company in January 2022. And I've been doing that since now.
These are just a few of the men and women who have been an inspiration to me, as well as others that have shared their journeys. We have heard a ton of challenges throughout the year, like hiring good, reliable workers is a pain for most service business owners. It seems to be a constant battle with finding and hiring the right fit for each business. There are many avenues you can take when it comes to hiring, like using Indeed, Craigslist, or even Facebook. In episode 8, Cristobal shared how he goes about his hiring process. Let's take a look.
So I work with employees. So my company here, has a hybrid model. So I have employees, but I also have subcontractors. And this is what I love about Booking Koala, because it allows me to do this, right? And so the hiring funnel, it's pretty simple. So the way we do it is we recruit in these two platforms. It really works for me very well. It's Indeed, that's one. And then number 2 is Craigslist. These two platforms, this is where we offer the jobs, and we send them to I guess you can call it a funnel. So it's a funnel where we say, hey, we're already open on how this thing works. So I say, hey, you're gonna get 50% of the job. You take the jobs on your own, up to you. And all we ask you is you have experience in the industry, at least 1 year, and then that you have your own supplies. And then if they decide to apply, they start in the funnel. In the funnel, I ask them, I have 3 images. How would you clean this oven? And I have a picture of a horrible oven, horrible. And I'm like, if you don't know how to clean, you're probably not going to know how to clean that. So, I have this little picture and say, how would you clean this oven? And then they have to type it, I would use, oven cleaner or whatever. Second question, how would you clean this shower door? And it's a shower that is like filthy. The same thing. And then number 3, how would you clean a fan? And what tools will you use? These 3 questions really allow me to filter the people who really don't know how to clean. Because, this is the problem I had. Before I had this funnel, I had a lot of applicants because cleaning sounds like an easy job. And it really is, but it's not for everyone. It's very, very labor intensive. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to like it. And so I was like, how can I filter people who just want a job? They just want a job and they don't really want to do a good job. They just want to apply. And I had these questions. And then from there, I was able to really filter people that don't know what they're doing. And if they answer correctly, I can see the responses, right? I say, okay, this person answered correctly. Let me talk to them. So they answer correctly. Then I get a notification and I call them and say, and I explain them a little bit, just be fully transparent. I think this is one of the things a lot of people drop the ball. If you're not telling them exactly what they're getting into, there's no clear expectations, and then you have a lot of churn. They come and they go, they come and they go. Be transparent and tell them exactly what it is about. Hey, listen, you're going to start here. We're going to pay you 50% to start. If you are good and you're a great provider that, who knows what they're doing, I'll pay you up to 60, up to 70, right? If you're one of those persons that just a doer, to never give me problems, I'll pay you more. But this is how we work. And so that's how we do it, right? It's very simple. Nothing complicated. It's more like just to filter the people who really don't know how to. Same thing with the office staff. I have also a similar funnel for people who answers the phone. So I work with VAs. I remember having a VA was like something crazy for me. But I needed help. Running a business, especially in this industry, like emails, phone calls, bookings, cancellations, running credit cards. It's a lot of stuff going on.
Any issues?
And,
Any issues that
putting
God forbid
fires.
somebody gets hurt, if a cleaner gets hurt or anything else.
Then scramble. Now you have to scramble and send someone else, and all these moving pieces. And I needed help, and so at the time I wanted something, and I heard about virtual assistants, but I was like, how do you train them? How do you pay them? What if they steal my credit card numbers? Right? There's a lot of fears. I'm like, what if I create the same funnel that I have for my cleaners and I just make it for virtual assistants? And so the little funnel, like, hey, what would you do if a customer is angry and tells you, like the most common scenarios. So I started running ads on Upwork, and I was able to find a fantastic VA. She really is, it's amazing. Her name is Sheena. Sheena, when she came into my company, I remember I said, Sheena, have you worked in any service industry jobs? I'm like, no. Like, what have you done before? She's like, I used to work for a bank, and I was in charge of the credit card fraud department. Like actually helping people with bogus claims. And I'm like, okay, that's perfect, because you deal with conflict, right? So you know how to calm people down and give them a solution. She's like, yeah, absolutely, you're hired. Little did I know, man, this is so good, and I wish I would have done this earlier. She comes to me and she's like, Chris, based on what I've seen how you work, I think we need to do this. We need to do that. And she's actually telling me what to do. And I'm like, this is genius. Thank you. And, I guess she's like, what else can we do? And she's like, oh yeah, we need to do this. And she started like telling me what things to do. I was blown away. And so I'm glad that, I was able to hire. I keep telling everyone, get a virtual assistant. It's for the money that you will pay someone locally, you pay a fraction of it. And there's very skilled people out there. And I think this is also another thing. Technology now allows us to really have a big pool of candidates across the world. We can have people in Latin America or in the Philippines or in India or wherever, and high talent, like really good people that know what they're doing, and at a fraction of the cost. It's a win-win.
Moving on to marketing, which was always a big topic of discussion, from Facebook ads to Google LSA and door hangers to SEO and email campaigns. The landscape for marketing is always evolving. One of the most surprising, successful campaigns was from Kacper and his door hangers. So this clip is from episode 37 with Kacper and how he utilized a targeted area of higher income homes to deploy a 4th of July discount with door hangers.
Yeah, so we had like a big July 4th like door hanger campaign offering like 30% off. Our clean, we did raise our price 30% to kind of equate the 30% discount off anyway, but that's beside the point. But we did throw that discount. We got a ton of people in for July 4th. So that was honestly our most successful campaign. I think when I was originally starting, it was like by the time I got everything up and running and getting some traction, it was, I want to say, March, April, and I cold called and cold email a lot of real estate agents as like the springtime market was turning around. A lot of properties were getting listed. So it was like coupled with good timing and I guess like good execution in the sense of like my emails were like, created like flows and had them kind of go out every few days and dripped out in a sequence if they haven't responded or seen the emails yet. Picking up the phone will bring you business, even though sometimes you don't want to do it. Like it's really the best way to spend $0. I mean, you're spending your time, but you're not really paying the money and hoping you can kind of put a lot of the control of sales and closing someone on a call, whether it be like I would call like bank managers for their branches, or like commercial buildings to ask if they have like any interest, or property management companies, if we can create like a partnership, or if we can like leave some flyers in these like large condominium buildings in Chicago. So I'd say door hangers and cold email, cold calling have really been the most successful, especially if you're just starting out. Cold email and cold calling was like my best friend. So
I absolutely love that cold email, cold call. It takes hustle, but it takes a lot mentally to be able to do that. A lot of people don't want to do that, especially if you're just starting out, but it is a great way if you don't have a lot of money saved up for a marketing budget. And it kind of helps you get over objections as well, because over time, quickly you'll learn all the objections and you'll work on how to overcome them for sure. But you kind of went the corporate Black Friday route of raise the price to drop it back down. I mean, it worked. If you said it's your most successful campaign that you've done, then it worked so far.
Yeah, for sure. It did work. I mean, I don't know. I was just like, well, I don't really want to actually give 30% off my prices, so let's raise 30%, drop it down to 30, and just kind of throw that perceived value gain at customers, and kind of see how it goes. So it seemed to work. We got quite a lot of new clients. Plus, like around July 4th, a lot of people were like either having family over or like leaving. So with that aggregation of leaving, coming in, people wanted their homes cleaned either right before they got back home, or when they had like family get-togethers after cleaning or before. So that's been, I think today, that's been our most successful campaign.
Do you roughly remember how many new signups you had from that?
Yeah, I think we distributed like 2,000 door hangers or 3,000 door hangers around like Lincoln Park Lake. I mean, to people who don't know Chicago, like kind of areas by the lake or a little bit more like upmarket areas. And I think we got like 38 bookings, which is like quite a lot. I thought. So yeah, I was pretty shocked. So that was quite a lot for how little it was, like almost like a 10%, not 10%, sorry, 1% conversion. So it worked out.
And door hangers too. I've heard from others who have tried door hangers and they swear they'll never do them again because they've done maybe 3, 4, 5 times as many as that and not even gotten one call, let alone bookings. So definitely got a good setup from that, because door hangers don't really cost much.
No, it didn't. It costs like, I think I used like Vistaprint. I don't remember the pricing off the top of my head at this point, but I think it was something like I paid $1,000 for 5,000, or like $500 for 5,000 like prints, and I distributed about like 3 around those areas. So it's pretty cheap. I mean, you just kind of have to pay someone to go out and distribute as well, because I didn't really want to distribute myself. So found like a few high school kids, and you gave them like $10 cash an hour, and just told them to like track their location, or like those like running apps that people can kind of like track like the way you run or the way you like run. And I would just kind of have them send me that, verifying that like they walked the routes I wanted them to walk, and then it would give them the time. And so it was like kind of pretty easy to verify. So it worked out for me. I think it's underutilized, but it does work. We did get a lot of cleans. We also kind of put our like QR code directly to our booking page right on like the front of the door hanger as well, so it's kind of easy for people to just like scan and get knocked into our booking page kind of.
One of the main things that each business owner could agree on is that having top-notch customer service is a must to be able to succeed in this industry. Operational excellence is what is going to be the difference between a customer choosing you versus your competitors. Mahad shared his strategy for excellent customer service during our interview in episode 33, and here he is talking about that.
Customer satisfaction is, I believe, number one reason why we are the way that we are right now, is why we have a solid online presence on Google, why we still get referrals. Even when a customer has a really bad experience with us, I always get on the phone with them immediately after. I apologize for their experience. I make sure that they are heard. I speak with them and I give them options that I can to remedy the situation. And then I give them a bonus of a free clean plus a refund to a clean that they may have, depending on the severity of what they've experienced, to ensure that they are well taken care of. That is on the negative end. Like, I want to make sure that on the disaster recovery side, that the customer is not going to have a problem with customer service on the top down, because that can be the killer of future business. Is that they come up with a problem to the business owner or the customer service representative, and they feel like they're not heard, and they feel like they're just as disrespected as the experience that they have felt, and they feel like that they really could have done away with this experience by not talking to the cleaning company directly. I never want that to happen. I always want to make sure that the customer always feel that they have received a great customer service experience when they had reached out to try and reconcile with us, or we at least find out that they've had a bad experience, and we be the first one to reach out proactively to make sure that they have a good experience leaving us at the minimum. Nurture the great experiences that customers have returned back to us with. They say great things about us. I try to funnel that into some reviews. I try to funnel that into some customer referrals. I give them bonuses in the future, as well through like discounts for future cleans, and try to entice them into a recurring service. Also reach out personally to a lot of our long-term recurring clients to thank them for being with us and giving them regular bonuses. Like I had a chance to speak to us in December of 2022 last year, and she's still with us for a bi-weekly service. And I've spoken with her directly yesterday and offered her a couple free cleans in the upcoming weeks because of how long that she's been with us. And doing so for other clients in her case, I've had some customer referrals as a result of that good faith effort of trying to nurture the relationships that I have with long-term clients at the moment. Customer service is cheap. It's because it's free. You only have to be. I mean, it's not okay. Let me stand back. It's not free. You know, if you want to give discounts or if you want to give free cleans. But customer service is in the sense of making sure that the customer feels heard, speaking to them, and nurturing that relationship is valuable. It's free to be a good person, and it's free to always have a positive attitude, you know. And it could be very beneficial to also try to relax some of your hands on the money and try to give back in some discounts and some free cleans to see if you could continuously nurture that relationship with customers, because it is cheaper to give $135 to $250 for free to keep someone to stay with you for a year or 2 years versus having to pay $45 or more to get a one-time service. You know, it's definitely cheaper to have great customer service compared to no customer service and continuously paying for marketing costs and getting one-time cleans and not nurturing that relationship with clients to keep them on and stay with you. Because if you respect the customer and they feel respected by you and they feel like they're being taken care of by you, why would they want to leave you?
Throughout the year, I have learned so much from every single episode that I did, and every person gave me something new to reflect on. The one thing that stands out the most is that it doesn't matter who you are or what stage of your life you're in, you can start this business today and be super successful. In episode 17, Mudit shared that he was in college during the pandemic and decided to start his business at that time.
So the cleaning ones I started, so the first one I started in like February of 2022. And that's the one I did in Charlotte. The way I started, I was on Twitter, and this was like, I want to say 2021, and I was just scrolling through and I'd see a few people's tweets. So I'd obviously follow like the big entrepreneurs and stuff like Gary V, Elon, and like I think Patrick Bet David, and then there's a few others. I just follow them, and then from them I trickle down to like some of the smaller business owners, and I found a few people that would like talk about cleaning services. I'm like, you know, this is a very interesting model where you could take it online through, you know, a software like Booking Koala, where you could literally hire cleaners, put them on, book customers in. You could assign them, show the address, all this stuff, versus you taking calls and saying, okay, let me write this down. I'll show up at your house at this. You have a whole software to take care of everything for you. I was like, this is pretty sick. So I started reading tweets and all this stuff, got into it, and I was like, this is pretty easy. Started that in 2022, a few months after I read about it. And then I did it for the whole year of 2022. And I'm like, you know what? I think I could easily do more, because I hired a VA in the summer, and then she quickly learned and was able to do everything for me.
Now, Shanisha told us about her 4 college degrees that she earned in episode 31.
I have degrees that are heavily in the tech field. When I came back here to Ohio as an adult, I came back as a single mom. I married into the military too. So I had literally exchanged my dependent card from my dad to my husband. And when that relationship did not work, I came here to Ohio. So I waited until my daughter was in preschool, and I had unfortunately had a really bad family incident that happened, and it forced me to like reevaluate my life. And I was like, I'm gonna go to school. So I went to school for 6 years straight. I'm that person who has all of these degrees, and now I got a cleaning business, right? But I'm gonna tell you that every single degree and every single experience that I've had from that time until now, I actually incorporate that into my business. So I do have that marketing. I have a marketing and advertising I have a PR background. I was a media services manager, which I did, advertising and event planning and web maintenance and all of that. I also am a user experience designer. I advocate for digital accessibility, all of those things. I try to incorporate into my business, hence the name, The Made Experience, because I love experiences and curating like great experiences for other people, because that's what life is about. A good experience will make you feel great. A bad experience will make you feel crappy. And so my goal is to like really leave people, feeling great with any interactions that I have with them, so.
I gotta ask, how many degrees?
4.
4.
Yes. And I was crazy enough. It would have been 5. I was crazy enough to be enrolled in 2 graduate programs at one time while raising kids.
With 2023 coming to a close, I want to share that in 2024, we will continue to release more episodes, as well as start to branch into other service-based industries. If there's anything that you would like to see or add in, please leave us a comment below, and we will do our best at getting that added in. I'd like to take a moment now just to thank everyone who has been part of this journey. Whether it's being a guest on the show, you at home watching or listening, our awesome booking Koala users, and most importantly, our absolutely wonderful and extremely hardworking team. From the customer service reps to our entire development team. I know myself, Phil, and Vivek know this would not be at all possible if it wasn't for you all. So once again, thank you for your continued support, and we will see you next week for another episode.